Here, this is a gift for the baby's birth. Feel free to use it. I was given baby clothes as a birth gift from my mother-in-law, Sophia. It was beautifully wrapped, and I received it with a smile. Then, Sophia went back to her house. And I eagerly opened it with my husband to check the contents. The moment I saw what was inside, I immediately threw it in the trash. Hey! That was a gift. What are you doing? My husband Rick got angry at me, but when I explained the reason, he turned pale. He immediately left the house and headed to his mother's place. My name is Emily. I am currently 27 years old and work as a clerk at a suit specialty store. I met my husband Rick as a customer at my workplace. I fell for him as he meticulously chose suits, thinking he was a wonderful man. Rick seemed to have a good impression of me too, as I carefully explained each suit. When the suit was ready and it was time for the handover, Rick said he wanted to see me again. From there, we went out for meals several times, getting to know each other. After 2 months, we started dating. And Rick and I formed a relationship where we encouraged each other's growth. When I went to Rick's place while we were dating, it was very clean. Such a clean room for a guy living alone, you must put in a lot of effort. Rick, you're quite tidy, aren't you? When I said this, Rick didn't boast, but had a somber look on his face. I have some past trauma. I realized that something significant happened, and that's why he kept his room so clean. Seeing Rick's face, I felt it wasn't right to probe further. As I looked around the room, Rick hesitantly said to me, "Emily, do you keep your room clean? I can't stand it if someone isn't tidy." Rick said this, revealing an unknown side of himself. Well, I can't say how clean it needs to be, but it's not messy. That's good. I'm relieved. Rick seemed very relieved. Since we had just started dating, I thought he just liked cleanliness. As we went on more dates, I learned more about Rick's personality. 2 years after we started dating, Rick made a plan for our next date. Our next date will be our 2-year anniversary, so let's have dinner at a restaurant. Oh right, it's been 2 years already. I'm looking forward to it. We made this promise and then went our separate ways for the day. On the day of our next date, Rick seemed restless during dinner, constantly shifting his eyes and fidgeting. When I asked if he was feeling unwell, he just said he was fine. As I grew concerned, Rick suddenly surprised me. "Emily, will you marry me?" I was shocked as I hadn't expected a proposal. Understanding why Rick had been so restless, I happily accepted with a smile. The surrounding customers and staff applauded us, and Rick blushed happily. It was a good memory for both of us. Leaving the restaurant with our faces red with embarrassment. A few weeks later, we went to greet our families about our marriage. "Should we start with visiting your family?" Rick, a bit shaken, said. "Can we wait a bit before going to my family's home? Let's go to your parents' place first." Sure. That's fine. Rick hastily changed the plan I had proposed. I didn't mind much about the order of the greetings, so we first went to my family's home. When we arrived, my parents were waiting with lunch prepared. "Welcome, Rick. I've heard about you from Emily. Eat as much as you like. Rick, don't be stiff. Feel at home here." "Thank you." My parents entertained Rick well. Since Rick and my father shared hobbies, they had become quite close by the time we left. I had been worried about a tense atmosphere before visiting. But seeing my parents and Rick laughing and talking together put me at ease. "Come again anytime." "Thank you." "We will." We left my parents' house before evening. The visit had taken longer than expected, so we didn't have time to visit Rick's family. "I wanted to visit your family too, but is tomorrow okay?" "Yes. It's totally fine, don't worry." Rick seemed somewhat relieved. I had been noticing Rick's subtle expressions and behaviors, and finally asked him, "You've been delaying the visit to your family. Is there something you're hiding?" When I asked directly, Rick flinched and looked at me. He had been evasive all this time, but then he explained. "Actually, my family home is old and cramped with too much stuff. My mom can't throw things away. It was better when my dad was around, but since he passed away 5 years ago, the house has been overflowing with things. I always try to get her to tidy up and help with cleaning, but it never really gets done. I kept delaying because I was worried you'd be put off by it. So that's it. I thought maybe your mother was against our marriage. I don't mind how the house is." I understood why Rick had asked if I was tidy, and why he had been delaying the visit to his parents. I had been worried that they didn't like me, so it was a relief to know that wasn't the case. I continued to reassure Rick. "Actually, I'm quite good at tidying up, so I'll help with the cleaning." Rick, seeing that I wasn't fazed at all, finally showed a smile of relief. "Thank you, Emily. I really appreciate it." Rick promised to take me to his parents' house the next day at noon. On the day, we headed to his family's home. When we arrived and saw the exterior of the house, it didn't seem too concerning. Rick opened the front door and let me in. I had thought he was exaggerating, but once inside, it was indeed overflowing with stuff. To put it mildly, it was not clean. Various items were scattered around, and it seemed like the trash hadn't been thrown out either. Walking cautiously behind Rick through a hallway piled high with garbage, I felt anxious about the mess toppling over. Then, Rick called out to his mother in the kitchen. "Mom, I've brought my fiancé." "Oh, you're already here." "I'm cooking right now, so wait in the living room, will you?" We were led to the living room. Looking around, the living room table was cluttered with documents and what seemed like yesterday's plates. Rick noticed the table and, with a look of frustration, began to clear it. "I'm really sorry, Emily. Just sit down for a bit while I clean up." Rick cleaned the table and went to help his mother with the preparations. I sat there, not knowing what to do in this new situation, feeling awkward and out of place. Soon, Rick and his mother came into the living room. "It's nice to meet you. Sorry it's cramped here, but I think the food will be delicious, so please enjoy." "Nice to meet you too, I'm Emily. Sorry for barging in like this. I'll definitely enjoy the meal." After a brief greeting before the meal, Sophia handed me a plate and fork. The fork were rusty. Rick also received rusty fork from his mother. Confused by this being the norm, Rick noticed the fork and became angry. You're using the rusty fork again without throwing them away. If you're going to reuse them, just do it for yourself. Emily might be uncomfortable. Please bring clean fork for guests." Rick replaced my fork with a new pair. I was relieved at this gesture, but his mother seemed puzzled. "They're washed and fine. Besides, she's family now, not a guest." She said this with a laugh. I felt bewildered by this difference in values. After we finished eating, Rick quickly suggested leaving. "Leaving already? Come again, Emily. Next time, let's have tea together." Yes. I replied hesitantly, with a forced smile. On the way home, Rick apologized to me several times. "I'm really sorry about my mom. It's easier for me to be firm because she's family, but I know it was hard for you. Don't worry, I knew about it from you beforehand. And the food was delicious. Next time, I'll go to your mom's place and help with cleaning up." Rick kindly told me not to overexert myself. However, wanting to get along with Rick's mother, I felt the need to help her with her hoarding tendencies. 2 weeks later, I arranged with Sophia to help clean her house. In the meantime, I read books on cleaning and decluttering, preparing to discard as much unnecessary stuff as possible. Then the day arrived. Knowing my mom, if she makes unreasonable demands, don't hesitate to say no. And if anything happens, call me right away, even if I'm at work. Yes, thank you. I understand. Rick looked worried as he saw me off, and I headed to his parents' house alone. Thank you for helping today. Yes. Let's do our best. We started cleaning the living room first, and as I gathered trash, Sophia said to me, "Oh. Don't throw that away, it can still be used if washed." She took a plastic food container from the trash bag and put it on the sink counter. She even kept used tissues, claiming that the edges could still be used. Sophia, we'll never get anything thrown away at this rate. I tried to persuade her to throw things away, but she refused. She said she would handle the living room herself, and we moved on to cleaning the bedroom. Let's start by sorting through the clothes in the closet that you don't wear. I asked about each piece of clothing in the closet, one by one. But with each one, Sophia began reminiscing. I can't throw this away, it has memories. I'll keep this one too because I might fit into it again if I lose weight. That one is from my favorite brand, so I won't throw it away. She made excuses for every piece of clothing, and in the end, nothing was thrown away. I tried to find something she might be willing to part with. Do you have anything you don't use much? Well, I don't use my makeup tools much. She opened the shelf where her makeup was stored. Looking at dusty lipsticks and powders, she offered one to me. Emily, this lipstick would suit you. You can have it. She presented me with a used lipstick, probably untouched for decades. I was a bit taken aback. I can't use a lipstick that's been around for years. If you don't need it, let's throw it away. I tried to put it in the trash bag with a wry smile, but she snatched it away. If you're going to throw it away, I'll use it. After saying this, she put it back on the shelf. Similar exchanges continued, and I could sense her becoming gradually more upset. Before I knew it, the evening had arrived. I came to help, but I'm sorry we couldn't get any cleaning done. It's fine. Emily, you throw away too much. You should value things more. As I was leaving, she said this to me in a slightly sarcastic tone. I wanted to retort, but held back and responded with a smile. When I got home, Rick had prepared dinner. Oh, you're already back. Thanks for making dinner. Hi, Emily. Thanks for today. So, how did it go? Rick asked with a bit of hope, but he understood from my expression. Sorry, I couldn't throw away a single thing. It was a wasted day. Same thing happened when I tried. With Mom's personality, it's hard to throw anything away. Rick seemed to have run out of patience with his mother too. I also gave up on the idea of helping her clean any further. From then on, we tried to avoid visiting his parents' house. When his mother invited us for dinner, we suggested eating out instead. Then, 6 months later, I received wonderful news. Rick, I think I'm pregnant. We immediately celebrated together. We decided to announce it to everyone after reaching the stable period of the pregnancy. Fortunately, I had no morning sickness and everything went smoothly. I entered the stable period. I informed my parents, Sophia, and my workplace. Everyone was happy and looking forward to meeting the baby. It's our child. It will surely be bright and good at sports. Maybe. If it is like Rick, it might be a bit mischievous. We often imagined what our soon-to-be-born child would be like and waited excitedly. Before I knew it, I was in the final month of pregnancy. Every day, I thought the baby might be born. Even on the expected due date, I spent the day nervously, but there were no signs of labor. I wonder when this kid will decide to show up. Probably a laid-back one. We talked to the baby in my belly, hoping it would come out soon, and then went to sleep. However, in the middle of the night, I woke up feeling unable to sleep and realized I was having contractions. Rick. Wake up. I think I'm in labor. I hurriedly woke Rick up and had him prepared to go to the hospital. I was both excited to meet our child and fearful of the pain of childbirth. Despite being woken up in the middle of the night, Rick quickly got ready and drove me to the hospital. A few hours after we arrived at the hospital, our daughter was born safely. Rick congratulated me and held our daughter. He looked moved, with tears in his eyes. Thank you so much, Emily. Rest well today. Rick comforted me with kind words. We had already decided on the name Liz for our daughter. When I called Liz's name for the first time, I felt nervous but filled with love. I felt ready to tackle family life as a trio. Rick then informed my parents and his mother about the birth. Many gifts for the baby arrived, and during my hospital stay, many people came to see Liz. My parents also came to visit me in the hospital. Congratulations and well done, Emily. This is Liz, right? She's so cute and really looks like you and Rick. We have a birth gift, but we'll bring it another time so it doesn't become a burden. Thank you. My parents held Liz and played with her a lot. They talked about when I was born, which was very moving. I hope to watch over Liz with the same kindness as my parents. In the evening, after my parents left, I received a call from Sophia. She said she had been busy during my hospital stay and couldn't visit. But she wanted to see her grandchild at our home after my discharge. I happily agreed and looked forward to her visit. After being discharged, Rick picked me up, and while we were on our way home, Sophia called. Sorry, I couldn't visit you in the hospital, Emily. Can I come to see my grandchild next week? Of course, it's fine. We're looking forward to your visit next week. I promised to have her over next week and told Rick about it. Next week, huh? Looking forward to it. We were both happy that so many people wanted to celebrate our daughter's arrival. Once home, we, as new parents, awkwardly took care of Liz together. Everything was a new experience for us, and bathing Liz was especially nerve-wracking. Babies often spit up milk, so make sure to keep her neck area clean. Right, we have to keep her clean. We spent our days immersed in childcare, recalling what we had learned in parenting classes. Even with 2 adults, taking care of one small baby was challenging. We woke up every 3 hours for feeding and diaper changes. And the days passed by quickly. A week later, the day of our appointment with Sophia arrived. Around 10 a.m., Sophia came to our house. Sorry to make you come all the way here. Please, come in. I couldn't wait to see my grandchild. I'm coming in. She eagerly headed to the living room with a spring in her step. The moment she saw her grandchild, she joyfully picked her up. Oh, Liz is so cute. Reminds me of when Rick was little. She happily held Liz. Rick and I watched this scene with a smile. While I was making tea, Sophia gave us a gift for the baby. I'll give this to you now before I forget. It's baby clothes. Feel free to dress her in them. We're grateful to receive it. Thank you so much for bringing it. Rick and I expressed our gratitude and accepted the gift. After about an hour of chatting, Sophia, considering my condition, decided to leave early. I don't want to tire you out, Emily. I'll be leaving now. We bid farewell to her and watched her leave. Afterward, Rick and I eagerly opened the gift. When I took out the contents, I immediately felt uncomfortable. I threw it straight into the trash. Rick, seeing this, became angry. Hey. That was a birth gift. Why are you throwing it away? Confused by my actions, he retrieved the baby clothes from the trash. I stopped him and said, "Look at that baby outfit closely." Huh? Rick, not understanding, looked at the clothes. He didn't notice anything unusual at first, but then he saw something. Isn't the collar yellowed? Exactly. Also, check the tag. Following my suggestion, Rick looked at the tag. He was shocked. Wait, this tag has adult sizes written on it. And this brand name is... Right. It's the brand your mother likes. And the yellowing around the neck suggests she remade her old clothes into baby clothes. I searched for the clothing's characteristics on my phone. The search revealed that the clothes were manufactured 20 years ago. Sophia had repurposed her old clothes, which she no longer wore, into baby clothes. The collar was yellowed, and upon closer inspection, there were signs of fraying and a musty smell. I was horrified by her actions, thinking about what could have happened if Liz had worn them. Rick shared my feelings and immediately left the house to confront his mother. He drove to her house and found her just as she was parking. Noticing something was off, she turned around to see an angry Rick getting out of his car. Rick? Why such a scary face? What's wrong? She was surprised by his expression and asked him, "What's wrong? What kind of gift did you give us?" Rick shouted at her. People nearby noticed the commotion and watched from a distance. The gift? You mean the birth present? I thought it was a great idea. I bought it a long time ago but didn't wear it anymore. So I remade it. I couldn't deliver it during Emily's hospital stay, though. She spoke as if it was natural to be pleased with her handiwork. Rick, frustrated, exclaimed, "Give me a break. We can't dress a newborn in such dirty clothes. Think a little." Rick scolded her and then, calming down, tried to explain in a way she would understand. "Mom, that outfit had mold and yellowing. We can't dress a baby who needs a clean environment in that." "Oh, but I washed it, so it's fine." She failed to understand the importance of cleanliness for newborns. And then she continued, "It's a shame to waste it. I made it with great effort. A little praise wouldn't hurt." She spoke as if she had done nothing wrong and even expected to be thanked. Rick felt it was pointless to argue with her and gave up trying to make her understand. Due to repeated similar incidents with his mother in the past, Rick couldn't contain his anger and raised his voice again, even in front of others. "Don't you understand how sensitive children are? What would you have done if something happened to our child?" Still furious, Rick continued, "Even when Emily and I went to your house for our marriage announcement, you embarrassed us in front of others. Did you know I moved out right after I started college because of you? I couldn't stand your hoarding behavior." Rick revealed these past grievances. He had hoped his mother would change her ways after hearing this. But her response was dismissive. "I can't help it. I can't stand to throw things away." Rick's words didn't reach her. Despite his earnest explanation, her reply made him lose all hope. Rick, feeling utterly disheartened, said coldly, "Then fine. If you're going to be like that forever, please stay away from us." With those harsh words, Rick left his mother. She, realizing the impact of his words, desperately tried to stop him. "Wait. I can't throw things away, and I don't want to lose contact with my grandchild." She showed no intention of changing her ways. After Rick left, she immediately called me. "Emily, Rick complained about the baby clothes I gave. He even said he wouldn't let me see my grandchild. Can you talk to him for me?" Without hesitation, I firmly responded, "Sophia, because of your hoarding behavior, if something happens to Liz, I'll regret it. So we won't see you anymore. And we'll dispose of the baby clothes you gave." I hung up without waiting for her reply. After the call, she slumped to the ground, overwhelmed. It was unclear whether she was more upset about her clothes being thrown away or not seeing Liz. Neighbors started whispering about the scene they witnessed. Rick came home and apologized. "I'm sorry, Emily, for all the trouble caused by my mother. If she won't change even after that, let's not meet her anymore." After apologizing, Rick gently stroked Liz's head. Knowing he was prioritizing our child, I felt reassured. Since then, we avoided contact with his mother. It seems her hoarding behavior worsened over time, becoming a nuisance in the neighborhood and even a topic of ridicule among local children. Eventually, the local authorities were alerted due to the severity of the situation. Despite warnings and forced cleanups, she remained defiant, saying it was her right to keep her belongings. Her refusal to heed advice led to health problems and further complications. But she continued to ignore medical and governmental warnings. Finally, the authorities had to forcibly remove the garbage from her property. Despite her pleas, the cleanup continued, and she was charged for the expenses. Her actions led to neighborhood disputes and public embarrassments. She remained a subject of gossip and curiosity. As for us, we maintained our distance and lived peacefully as a family of 3. When Liz was over a year old, I discovered I was pregnant with our second child. "Rick, it seems we're expecting our second child. Congratulations. Take care of yourself. Let's announce it to everyone once you're in the stable period." After entering the stable period, we shared the news with relatives, friends, and colleagues. However, we chose not to inform Rick's mother. It seemed we would continue to live separate from her. We decided to focus on our happiness, away from her influence.